All right, today we're jumping into something really intense. It's one of the most urgent warnings you'll find anywhere in the Zohar. A wild vision that basically says the fate of Jerusalem and maybe our entire reality is tied to a cosmic system that we, you and me, actually control.
So I want you to just picture this. Imagine we're looking at Jerusalem, but it's in that stunning 4K heritage style, you know? The sun is setting, and those last golden rays are just lighting up the ancient stones. The sky is this incredible mix of fire and deep violet. It looks so peaceful, so timeless. You could almost feel the history just pouring off the walls.
But then, as you look a little closer, you realize something's not right. That beautiful golden glow starts to, well, flicker. The walls, these are walls that have been there for thousands of years. They almost look like they're phasing in and out, shifting from solid stone to something broken, almost see-through. And there's this low hum. You can't really hear it, but you can feel it, a vibration that's coming from the very fabric of the city itself.
And right there, sitting and studying as the light fades, you've got two of the heavy hitters from the book of Zohar, Rabbi Hia and Rabbi Chizkiah. They feel this vibration deep in their bones. They know something's off. And then, bam! A figure just appears right in front of them. This is not a regular person. This is someone made of pure, shining light. But you can see from their expression, this is urgent. It's the prophet Elijah.
And when he starts to speak, the sky literally darkens. You can almost see this huge cosmic tree of life hanging in the sky above the city. It just starts to dim. Its light is pulling back. And at that exact same moment, the stones of Jerusalem start shaking even harder. Elijah's message is basically a system diagnosis, and it is a bad one. A critical connection has been severed, and the whole system that keeps reality online is about to crash.
Okay, so let's dive in. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with Elijah's warning, then get into the cosmic operating system he's talking about. We'll look at why Jerusalem is so fragile, see what happens when the flow stops, figure out how to get it back online, and then figure out where we fit into all of this. All right, first up, Elijah's urgent warning. And I really want you to think about this less like some old myth and more like a diagnostic report from the universe's best technician telling us a critical system is failing.
So this really brings us to the core question, right? What is this invisible spiritual infrastructure that's holding everything together? And, maybe more importantly, why is it failing? What's the one variable, the one that depends on us, that's causing this whole thing to break down?
Okay, so to really get the problem, we've got to understand the system itself. We need to look at the divine blueprint, the actual architecture of reality, according to the Kabbalists.
So at the very heart of this blueprint, you have the Sefirot. So what are they? Well, they're 10 divine attributes or emanations. The best way to think of them is like cosmic processors or nodes that take this infinite, unimaginable divine light and step it down, level by level, until it can actually form our reality. And altogether, these 10 nodes make up what we call the tree of life. Okay, so if the Sefirot are the hardware, what's the electricity? That's something called Shefa. It's this divine flow. Think of it like a constant stream of spiritual energy, of life force, that flows through the Sefirot to power up and sustain, well, everything. Without the Shefa, the tree of life is just a bunch of fancy, unplugged hardware. So how does this energy get from one processor to the next? It moves through what are called the Tzinorot, and that word literally just means pipes or channels. Sources like Pardei Ramanim tell us there are 22 main channels. This is the cosmic wiring. It's the grid that connects all 10 Sefirot and directs that flow of divine energy. This is the actual infrastructure of everything. And this flow, it's not random. It follows a very specific path. It starts way up at the top at the most abstract level imaginable, which is Keter, the crown. From there, it flows down into Chokmah, that's pure, raw wisdom. Then into Bina, which gives it structure and understanding. It keeps stepping down through all these different attributes, mercy, judgment, beauty, all the way down until it gets to the last couple of stops. Yesod, the foundation, which is where all that energy gets collected, and then, finally, it hits Malchut, the kingdom. And guess what? That's us. That's our physical world. Malchut is the end of the line. It's the final vessel that receives all of that divine flow from above. It's where the spiritual blueprint becomes physical reality. And the number one symbol for this final stop, for this terminal on the cosmic motherboard, is Jerusalem. So how Jerusalem is doing, that's a direct reflection of how our world, Malchut, is doing.
Okay, now let's zoom in a bit. Because there's a specific feature in the design of our world that makes this whole system incredibly powerful, but also really high maintenance. You could say it has a built-in vulnerability.
So to get this vulnerability, we need to understand two key forces that seem opposite but are both absolutely essential. The first one is called din, which is judgment. The best way to think about din is as the force of limits, of strict cause and effect. It's what gives everything its shape, its definition, its borders. Without din, everything would just be a chaotic, formless mess. It's the force that says this is a cup and not a table.
And the force that balances it out is rachamim, or mercy. This is the energy of compassion, of harmony, of bringing things together. Rachamim is what softens the harsh, rigid nature of pure din. It's what allows for things like forgiveness and second chances, so that reality isn't just a brutal machine of consequences.
Now here is the absolute key. The sources, like the essays of Rashbi, tell us that our world, Malchut, the one symbolized by Jerusalem, is built on a foundation of din. Its default setting, its base code is judgment. It is, by its very nature, a realm of strict, unwavering consequences. And this is where you see the incredibly delicate balance. Since our world's foundation is pure judgment, it needs a constant stream of mercy, of rachamim, flowing in from above just to keep things stable. If that flow of mercy slows down or gets cut off, then that underlying nature of pure, raw judgment just takes over. The system gets super unstable, things start to break apart, and our world becomes vulnerable. And that's when the walls of Jerusalem start to tremble. So, that leads to the million-dollar question, right? Where does this balancing flow of mercy even come from? It's not on autopilot. The system does not regulate itself. And this is where we come in. We're not just passengers watching the show, we are critical operators of this whole system. And the Zohar and all the mystical texts are crystal clear about this. That flow of balancing energy, the Shefa, that brings mercy down to us, it doesn't just happen on its own. It has to be actively pulled down from the higher worlds into ours. And how do we do that? Through human consciousness focused on one primary activity, Torah study. Our engagement is literally the switch that turns on the flow.
And listen, this isn't some new age idea. This is a core principle. The Zohar actually quotes the prophet Jeremiah to hammer this home. It asks, why was the land lost? Because they abandoned my Torah. So from this cosmic point of view, the destruction of Jerusalem wasn't just about politics or armies. It was a total system failure caused by the operators, us, abandoning the one thing that kept the whole grid powered up.
So here you can see the system in its two states. On one side, when we're actively engaged, the channels, the Tzinorot, are wide open. That pure white life force, the Shefa, is just flowing freely, bringing all that mercy down to balance out the judgment. Jerusalem is stable, it's protected. But on the other side, when Torah is neglected, those channels get clogged up. They get constricted. The texts even say they can break. The Shefa pulls back. And that raw red energy of din just flares up unchecked. The system's defenses crash, and our world becomes vulnerable to these destructive forces called the Klipot, led by a figure named Samael. But it gets even more specific than that. It's not just a question of if we study, it's about how we study. The sources are really clear that the quality of our engagement has a totally different effect on the system. There's a huge difference between just dealing with the outer shell versus getting to the fruit inside. This all comes down to the classic Pardes model. You've got pshat, the simple, literal meaning. That's the shell. It's important. It gives you structure. Then you have remez and drash, the deeper allegorical levels. Those strengthen the system. But all of those are connected to what's called the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the world of separation. The real power, the life-giving fruit that actually repairs the system, is Sod, the mystical secret layer. That's connected to the tree of life. And when you engage with Sod, you're not just maintaining the system, you are actively fixing broken pipes and turning the flow up to full blast.
And this is where it gets really wild. The sources, like the book Tree of Life, make a pretty staggering claim. They say that the original sin in the Garden of Eden was exactly this. It was choosing to eat only from the tree of knowledge, the surface-level stuff, the literalism, while ignoring the tree of life, which is the deep, inner mystical wisdom. They say that every time we choose the shell over the fruit, we're basically reenacting that original mistake, and we get the same cosmic results.
Okay, so if neglect is the problem, and specifically neglecting the deep stuff, then the solution has to be the opposite. It has to be active, conscious, deep engagement.
Yeah, this isn't a system that rewards just sitting back and believing. It demands action. The way to fix things, to stabilize our world, is to consciously dive into the sod, into those mystical secrets. That's how we clear out the pipes and get the divine energy flowing again.
And you know, the Zohar actually makes a direct promise about this. It says the key to redemption, the tool that gets everyone out of exile and restores the world, is tasting from the tree of life. And then it says, what's the tree of life? It's this book of the Zohar. It's not just presenting itself as a book to read, it's a piece of cosmic technology you're supposed to use.
So this basically lays out the whole repair sequence. It's a chain reaction, and we start it. It begins with us engaging with the deep mysteries. That reopens the cosmic channels. Then the divine flow, the Shefa, starts up again. Mercy flows down to balance out judgment, and the end result, the foundation is restored and Jerusalem is stable.
So, what does this actually mean for us today? Look, I know this is a super complex system, so let's try to ground it in a few modern analogies that should make sense no matter how old you are.
Okay, first, let's do the video game version. Think of the world as this huge, magical city. Its power source runs on something we can call knowledge energy. We are the players, and our quests are to study Torah. As long as we're doing the quests, the energy flows and the city shields are at 100%. But what happens if the players get bored or stop playing? Or if they only do the easy side quests instead of the main story? The energy level drops, the shields start to flicker and weaken, and that's when the enemy NPCs, the bad guys, can finally break through the walls and invade.
All right, now for the tech version. Imagine the universe is one giant central server. The operating system is running on critical code, and that code is the Torah. We're the sysadmins. As long as we are actively running the code, studying it, debugging it, especially the deep core functions, the SOD, the server is humming along, it's secure, and it's getting full support from the main power grid. But if we neglect the code, if we stop running those critical programs, the main power grid withdraws support, the firewalls crash, and the whole system is left wide open to viruses, malware, and a total hostile takeover, which is pretty much exactly how the text describes Samael and the Klipod. And last, here's the cosmic engineering version. Reality is a critical piece of infrastructure, like a celestial power grid, and Jerusalem is the main city plugged into it. This grid doesn't power itself. It needs a very specific type of energy, an input that's generated by focused human consciousness through Torah study. If that input stops, the grid's automated defenses shut down, its built-in vulnerabilities, that foundation of pure judgment, get exploited. You get system-wide decay, brownouts, and eventually the whole structure just collapses under the pressure of outside forces.
So after all of that, it really leaves us with one big final question. If this system is actually real, if our actions, our focus, our study is the input that keeps reality stable or lets it fall apart, then what code are you writing today?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.